Okay, share the screen, please. Okay, can you give us just a second so we can share our presentation and we can start? Perfect, there you have it. So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this colloquium that has as the main topic collecting, organizing, and reading data from the qualitative research. In today's session, we will be addressing some of these aspects of undergraduate research. To do this, we gather a group of experts to talk along with us, Maria Camila Moreno and me, Alejandro Vedder, to talk and give us some insights. Sorry, I had to put my headphones off. So, as I mentioned before, we'll be focusing on the research processes we have been developing in our class as undergraduate students from a BA program. We consider that this space is pretty important and is the prime one to portray and to get to know each other's processes, as well as highlighting some information that can be useful for future researchers in our program. Maria Camila will now give us a bigger picture of what our experts panel is composed by.
Thank you, Alejo, and good afternoon to all of you. It's a pleasure to be here sharing this space with our community. First of all, I want to introduce our experts. The panelists for today are students from the course Maestro Investigador 5, that is led by Professor Claudio Uribe. And this group of experts is carrying out 7 research studies related to didactical strategies that use Colombian Sign Language as a resource, teachers as intellectuals to construct critical thinking in virtual learning, teachers as intellectuals that transform sexual diversity perceptions, teaching strategies to construct critical thinking in virtual learning environments. Another one is the influence of teacher beliefs regarding the construction of didactical knowledge. We have other 3 projects that are planning and its connection to teachers' beliefs and practices, teaching strategies and their connection to teachers' repertoire, and literature-based teaching strategies to promote socio-emotional development. So at the moment, all of them are going through the stage of collecting and analyzing data. For that reason, they will be sharing their expertise based on their own process. So welcome to all our panelists for today, and thank you for being here, sharing your knowledge with us. And before beginning the conversation, I would like to clarify the expectations for this event. This colloquium will take an hour long. Alejo and I will be moderating this conversation about data collection and handling processes, validity during the process, preliminary findings, and some tips you may find suitable for sharing with us. And at the end, we are going to share some meaningful conclusions and open a space for questions and answers section in which our audience is kindly invited to participate.
Okay, thank you so much, Camila. I risk saying that the topics that we will address today are the most meaningful elements of research. Quoting some researchers, Sudan and Austin, in 2015, they said, doing qualitative research is about putting oneself in another person's shoes and seeing the world from that person's perspective. The most important part of data analysis and management is to be true to the participants. These processes are meant to be shared. You cannot research for yourself. And following the rigorosity of research, these elements need to be taken seriously in order to share accurate, well-based, and reliable information that can be later used for other researchers as their foundation.
Absolutely. I can't agree more with you, Alejo. And I would like to add something. To make research worthy for replication or basis for other in the future, as researchers, we need to assure the validity takes part in every single stage of our study, since according to several authors in Golabshani 2003, validity in qualitative research diminishes biases from participants and researchers, contributes to maintaining the focus according to the objectives, and provides transparency and accuracy. However, finding validity in qualitative studies may be a long process. So, bearing in mind that, I invite our experts to share how they have included validity in their research. If you all agree, the group of didactical strategies that use Colombian Sign Language as a resource may start.
Yes, thank you, Camila, and good afternoon to everyone. I guess I'll be the representative of my group that is composed by Mateo Arango Londonio, Sergio Toro, and I, Ricardo Gaviria. So we have been immersed in an investigation for more than 1 year, and for sure, this validation process has been an important part of it, since we have restructured and rethought many times our research procedures to really underpin our actions and reach high levels of validity. Regarding our validity process, right now, each of us has the first fresh data generation coded in individual charts. And we use individual coding charts that are to be later analyzed together to build up connections, notice differences, and reinforce points in common. This is basically to assure the investigator triangulation where there is more than one analyst in the study providing the ability to confirm findings across investigators. In this sense, we created a chart where we could be coding independently and then verify how consistent our codes were. This method consists of the use of more than one investigator in the study and the ability to confirm findings across investigators without prior discussion or collaboration between them, thus enhancing significantly the credibility of the findings. Moreover, we are also applying methods of triangulation. This method is promoted through the use of diverse instruments of collecting data, which contributes to the intention of decreasing the lags and biases that comes from any single method. And as a result of it, we have granted validity and rigorosity to our preliminary analysis, which has enriched our understanding regarding the concept of interculturality and didactical strategies. So it is important to clarify that our research is still in process of construction and there are many things to do. And letting those aspects aside, I hope this information has been useful for you, providing new considerations about validity in your research process. Thank you so much for your attention. Thanks.
Thank you, Ricardo. Thank you for your talk based on your experience. Now, a representative from the group of teachers repertoire.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. In our case, our validity has been assured with the instruments that we designed and applied, as well as the triangulation process between them. Our instruments are a teacher interview, student questionnaire, and observation forms. First, before my partners continue, I want to refresh very quickly on the concept of validity. So validity refers in qualitative research to whether the findings of our study are true and certain. True in the sense that the findings reflect the situation that is being observed, and certain in the sense that the findings are supported with the evidence or proof, and this must always be part of our process. Stephen?
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. As it was mentioned before, one of the ways to ensure validity in a research process is by applying this strategy of triangulation. So it is by combining theories, methods, and even the points of view of the observers or researchers in the study. So it's like gathering different point views to then have the whole picture of the subject or topic being studied. So one of the things we did, or one of the data collection instruments we had, was the teacher interview. So while we were reading the script from the interview, we took into consideration what authors said about teaching strategies, what theories or methods had been implemented in the classroom to promote interactions among students. And then from reading the script, we came out with 3 codes, which were teaching strategies, perceptions, which contributed to teachers' repertoire, and challenges. So that in that way, we had like different point views of the same topic, supporting and making stronger our codes.
Okay, good afternoon. After that process, we code the observation format. 3 researchers are observing 1 class and write it on the instrument. When we conclude to observe the first level of the course, we starting coding the information according to engagement teaching strategies literature. So we follow the same process as the interview. We took phrases or paragraphs from each format and put the information according to the different engagement teaching strategy that we have. In this case, we were doing a multiple theory triangulation. Also, this process evidence a multiple research triangulation because we clarify where the information comes and which research findings. And our last instrument is the student questionnaire. We applied this instrument, 80 students decided to participate, and right now we are coding the information according to the engagement teaching strategy literature. Thank you so much, Camila and Alejandro.
Thank you and all of your group for those examples, because when you were explaining, I could picture in my mind how the process of multiple triangulations had helped you support and confirm your findings. But now, before going deeper with other groups into the data analysis, I consider it's a good idea to dig first into the data collection and data handling processes. So here, what you can tell us about, not only how you have been collating data or your instruments and their implementation, but also how you have organized and read the information over the whole process. So who would like to start sharing from a different group?
Okay, if possible, I would like to start. And so you can see that I'm doubling both as a mediator and as a researcher. And my data collection has been divided into 2 different processes. First of all, it has to be acknowledged that I'm working with 2 different populations. So the way that I'm gathering the information with both of them is different. I'm working with both teachers and students. For my students, which are 12 students in total, I'm applying some surveys, but before the surveys, with having focus groups in which the interaction and the back and forth of the interaction in their speech is what gives me the information. In the other hand, in the complete opposite side, I have my teachers. With them, I'm just working through surveys. And first of all, it's easier for them to sit down and give an appropriate, accurate, and concrete answer about the question. And it's also easier for them to manage their times and everything. So after that, having those types of population, it's also worth to mention that the handling process of my data is going to through also two processes, but these two processes are being the same for both of my populations. After I gather the information in different ways from both of my populations, the information goes through two processes. First of all, differentiation and then aggregation. So as I'm reading the data, I'm finding certain codes or certain informations or opinions that if I gather them together, they can give up like a bigger picture in which I can say that most of these people have several or similar perceptions. In the other hand, I have those ones that are a little bit more disruptive, which are different. So those are the ones that are being differentiated in a group.
That's great, Alejo, because as you said, I'm pretty sure that those kind of instruments have given you meaningful insights from different perspectives. So now from a different group.
Okay, Camila, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Laura Echeverri. I'm a part of the project called Design of Literature-Based Teaching Strategies to Promote Social-Emotional Development. We started our data collection and handling processes by focusing the project on some specific skills related to social-emotional development. We choose 4 sub-competencies described by Causal Foundation and the Global Citizen Education Program. Those sub-competencies are guiding us by acting like some predetermined categories that had been used in the questionnaires and the data coding. Those categories are emotional awareness, frustration tolerance, empathy, and critical thinking. We have considered using several techniques allow the coding process. In that way, each group member can feel free to choose a strategy they feel comfortable with and fits at the moment to avoid any losing any idea. However, all those coding techniques are guiding are going to be later discussed in order to share ideas regarding each section. During the data gathering process, we have been transcribing the recordings and introducing the information in a matrix on Excel, where we plan to classify codes into the categories created. And why Excel? Because Excel is a software that we already know, and it has given us the opportunity to organize the information in a better way. Along the process of data coding, we have been discussing the codes that we have found in the process as a team, and we have been considering the opinion of each other, because for us it's very important the opinion of each member of the team. And in this point, I want to mention a statement by the authors Olesen et al. In 1994, and is multiple minds bring multiple ways and analyzing and interpreting the data that could possibly generate new and richer codes. Finally, we are taking advantage of being a numerous group, because we are 5, to triangulate our perspective and engage the validity of the information, because as the author Saldaña stated in 2009, team members can both code their own and others' data gather in the field to cast a wider analytic net and provide a reality check for each other. Thank you, Camila.
Thank you, Lau, for being our representative. And as you said, and I am very proud of it, our group is developing a process not only of reading and coding, but also of triangulating the information among us during this stage. And this analysis has been very enriching for all the whole process. And after that, I'm pretty sure that for the final results, they are going to give us better ideas. So thanks to both groups for your understandings.
Okay, now as I said before, Research is for and by the others, and these processes keep on giving us results and insights and more information into what's happening with each phenomenon, how it is evolving, how it is portrayed in our population or a scenario, and how would you guys want to share some of your preliminary results about those processes. So now I would like to invite any of the groups who would like to participate in this question. What are your preliminary findings? What have you seen so far while cutting the information?
Yes, I would like to participate here. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alejandro Cardona, and I belong to the research group, which is developing the topic of planning design, connections between beliefs and practices. Well, the following preliminary findings were obtained to start approaching the specific objective, which was to distinguish teachers' central beliefs and observable teaching styles along the process of planning design and its implementation in the classroom, as well as to begin giving some initial, let's say, hints to the research questions. So first, we devised the following categories, which are planning as a tool to connect the students to real life situations. Second, teacher planning related limitations. Third, planning to promote democratic participation. And finally, planning as a structure for professional exercise. These categories emerged from reading and reorganizing the surging codes during the data collection process and by establishing connections and possible patterns among them.
So now, Alejo, are you going to say something? Okay. Now, taking into account these categories that Alejo mentioned, then were then organized into possible themes, the ones that you are seeing there. So for example, planning as a tool to connect the students to real life, planning to promote democratic participation, and now they are part of teacher as a promoter of social reality. Planning design as a structured professional exercise now is part of planning as epistemological and liberative space. And teacher planning related limitations now is part of planning as a way of subjugation and epistemic violence. For the sake of time, I'm just going to explain one of them. And let's focus on the category planning design as a structured professional exercise. And this one, yes, thank you. It has started to constitute one of the preliminary themes. And after going back to theory, we discovered that this category is highly related to what Uvake and Aguirre 2020 called planning epistemologies. According to their work, the process of planning for a language class should definitely become a possibility of professional freedom for English teachers. And as a result, we named the theme that embraces the already mentioned category, planning as an epistemological and liberative space. Then, Owaki and Aguirre argue on the necessity of approaching the process of planning as a liberative and decolonial process that allows the student and teachers to take pedagogical knowledge to the classroom and without falling into patterns of base beliefs. And in this way, this theme is contributing to answering the research question, the one that we have there, that is, to what extent teachers' beliefs influence planning. And with the non-central belief, the one that Rokic explains, that when we have their use of planning to construct knowledge, and also it involves a teaching style in which the teacher is a professional expert who manages the knowledge that must be critical taken to the classroom. So as we can see, and up to this point, we are seeing the influence and how it is moving from the inside to outside and moving from the central beliefs to, for example, the style that the teacher has in the classroom.
Okay, thank you so much, Alejandro and Valentina, We can see that you're developing an amazing research process, which is being rigorous, and that has been a really centered process. Congratulations on that one. Now, I would like to invite any other group who would like to participate in the same question.
Yes, Alejo. Sorry.
Sounds like I would like to continue with this. So the first thing that I would like to mention is that our research has been based on what is the synergistic relationship between teacher belief and construction of didactic and knowledge of the preserved teacher of the 9th and 10th semester bachelor program in foreign language to comprehend the interaction between preserved teacher belief and didactic construction during teacher education. And well, related to that, the most significant findings so far in our research development have been to discover how our reflective process regarding our practice within the classroom has changed through our formative process as a teacher. And in this case, I'm using as a reference the Manners level of reflectivity that was created in 1977. We can see the way of seeing, approaching, and reflecting on our action within the classroom has changed from being focused on the technical aspects such as arrangement of the class and the content itself of the classroom to a deeper way of reflections where the social constructs that can affect the classroom are addressed. And taking into account that our approach is autoethnography, this finding is very relevant since it led us to have a clear overview of the changes we have had through our educational process. And thus we can track our belief, analyze them, and construct them with our current vision, generating significant knowledge both for our professional life and for the community of the preserved teacher. And the last thing that I would like to mention that is in the next slide is related to the planning class, because we consider that we have a quite influence in the release related to the planning class because it led us to comprehend that is a representation of the teaching and learning process. And it's has been quite interesting to see that this specific belief expressed for these two autoethnographers is seen inside these specific aspects. And this is all the information that we want to share with you.
Okay, Sebastian and your team. Also, thank you again to Valentina and Alejandro, because both of your researches have showed us the two phases of research. The one that you have to gather the information and share it, but also apply it. Both of your teams are applying that information in order to make new things and to create certain things for your classroom, which are going to be more suitable for your students and for you as a teacher. Finally, if any other group is willing to participate in this conversation, you're more than welcome.
Yes, Alejo, it's my turn. I'm so sorry for the interruption, Sebas. So yeah, continue with my preliminary finding. The most important for my research, that is teaching strategies in order to construct critical thinking through a virtual learning environment, has been the emotional scaffolding and development of critical thinking. When I was doing the research, the majority of the participants showed that just the presence of the teacher upgrades the quality of the classes. So when I have this information, I wonder why to the participants, maybe some questions, why is virtual classes so difficult compared to the face-to-face classes? The majority of the participants agreed that the feeling of the guidance of the teacher helps them to concentrate, to create more meaningful learnings, to have a lot of more constructions. So this is basically the scaffolding approach, where is that a teacher have this skill of helps the student to construct a skill through the emotional part. So that is the information that I wanted to share with you today. Thank you.
Okay, Laura, thank you so much for sharing such important information for you. You seem to be very confident on your research process, and you seem to be very clear with your concepts and your information, which is amazing. Thank you so much. So it's been really enlightening so far. how research is a circular process. The more information you get, the deeper it connects to the objective and the same research that you're developing, of course. Now, before start closing up this conversation, I would like to know if any of you have any tip, trick, or advice that you would like to share with us researchers, or with anyone who's watching us who's soon to begin their research processes, and those things that you think everyone should know before diving into qualitative research. If any of you wants to participate, let me know.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I would like to continue in this part. So my name is Joanna Marin, and a tip for us during the research that we think that is very important was to have a strategy or system to organize the information. And I know that it sounds very obvious, but during the process, having a system can be a key aspect to choose and delimit information later on, because you can gather way too much information, and at some point you need to narrow it down. So if it's possible, follow a process that is already established, maybe by other authors, by other researchers, or even better, you can find one in particular that it fits your own process, or you can create one if that's possible. And it can be very simple, for example, triangulation, that has to be part of the research at every moment. In our case was keywords and color patterns, and we do that with the theories that we found, all the research, just every part of the information that was important for us. We use colors and pattern colors and keywords that help us to narrow it down to just a few topics. So that was our key tip for today. Thank you.
Joanna, thank you so much for your representation in your group. I would like to invite now Brandon, who's going to represent his group. Maybe he can give us another tip.
Sure. Thank you, Alejandro. Thank you for this opportunity. So this is like the tip that Sebastian and I have drawn from our research experience. And it is focus on what you really need to research, supporting yourself in the question that you set out to answer. Because when handling, when gathering, and when analyzing your information, you may find lots and lots of data, of information. And I know that this lead us to see possible findings, very interesting findings, but it is likely to for one to get overwhelmed by such amount of information. So we have to be sure that we are not collecting unrelated data from our research question, because we have to keep the focus on that, the research question, and the analysis and the information that we are gathering are related to that question. And moreover, we have to keep in mind our research objectives as well, because they are like a guide to answer that question, that research question. And the instruments are also very relevant because they have to be connected or related to our objectives, because at the end, this will be like a key step to assure validity and rigorous to our research process. So this is like the tip that we have drawn so far.
Okay, perfect, Brandon. That was a really useful tip, and I guess that most of us are going to take really good advantage of that tip. And I would like to continue opening the space for anyone else who would like to give us another tip, maybe another group.
Yes, Alejo. I would like to give another tip. Well, some tips. First, objectives should be constantly checked in order to fulfill them and guide the process accordingly. Also, look at the data holistically. So, in other words, if you feel that information is static, you should observe it from different point of view. And when we face a setback while we are trying to analyze the information, we must challenge our assumptions. Sometimes it's difficult, but let the information speak for itself.
Okay, Vale, thank you so much. Before opening the space for anyone else, I would also like to provide you with one tip that I consider on my own research to be very useful. And it is that research is framed by you, but done by others. At this point, I've said this a couple of times, and I would like to really be like incisive in this tip. At the end of the day, you're just collecting the information, but your population is the one giving you that information. Without knowing it, they are the ones who know the topic and the ones who have the knowledge. Hence, research has to be respectful and true to the population that you're working with. And I would like to continue. I think that you can give us even more tips and more insights of what your research process has been, or some other information or tips that anyone might use in their own research processes. So if anyone else is willing to give us.
Yes, Alejo. We, as a team, our biggest tip for everyone is to read and reread. We have been listening to this since day one of Maestro Investigador, but this is so really important that we should repeat it as many times as possible. We have been learning in our group that when we read and reread, it gives you the opportunity to bring like new perspectives, reflections about a topic that you thought that you already knew, that you already have all the information. Sometimes it could even change the perception that you had before. You read something again and you say like, I didn't think of this before, and now it is taking me to another a thought or reflection. But by reading and rereading, we are not only meaning theories, authors, articles, or books. We are also thinking about our own constructions, the things that we do, the observations, the task, and everything that we do in order to gain new insights and new ideas. That's our team.
Sorry, I had a little issue over here. And that was a really useful tip, Mari, in group. And now maybe let's give the opportunity to one less group before we jump into some other topics.
Thanks, Alejo. Yes, we want to agree to add something else. Okay, the best tip we can offer is the one that determines the research process. In this sense, when reading qualitative data, you are supposed to look for what you cannot see at the first sight, subtitles and subtext that will take you deeper into the data that you are analyzing. Besides, read and reread your data first, looking for simple concepts, then trying to delve deeper into the data by seeing even further from the simple concepts. In this order of ideas, finding some preliminary codes and then making the data itself confess to theory. Thus, creating codes. Finally, make sure that the approach or technique you use is in harmony with the way you organize the information. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for all of your recommendations. I'm pretty sure they will be really helpful for all of us and maybe for future studies. Now, just to start wrapping up this event, I would like to highlight some ideas that this conversation left to us. So the first one, I will say that is teamwork is fundamental to carrying out any research. And it doesn't matter if a study that you are developing, you are doing it just you by yourself, or you are in a group, because along the process, the research will require other people to support or to confirm your findings. So if the project is carried out in a group, it is important to consider also the opinion of all members. And this will enrich the whole research process because each member and the whole team could get new meaningful insights. As a second conclusion that I have here is like, regarding the data collection and all the rigorous tasks that this process holds, such as designing the instruments that should be aligned to the objectives, the implementation of them, the role that the researchers need to perform as observers, etc. All of those tasks and this process requires researchers to have wide knowledge about qualitative research techniques and authors from research methodologies, plus their theoretical background. But also, researchers must be aware of validity and ethical considerations when collecting data to assure trustworthiness and respect for all the subjects' right.
Okay, and thank you, Cami, for your conclusions. I will also like to add and deepen down into some of my conclusions. First of all, organizing effectively the data gather, keeping records and backups to go back when reading and rereading the information helps to extract those categories into new meanings that emerge from the analysis. And those preliminary findings or categories or whatever that arises from this reading and rereading process, when they are supported by theory and checked through triangulations, will become great research results. So this is key. Have someone else to check what you're doing, reading or analyzing or finding, and back it up with some theory to give it strength and to give it weight. And finally, as you know, I've been very incisive on research not being a process by oneself. So research is a process that not only involves the participants and researchers, but it also includes the whole academic community and society in general, of course. This is why spaces like this colloquium are very meaningful, since research can be shared and strengthened. At the same time, other people are being motivated to investigate. Additionally, it is possible to share and build knowledge. Up to this part, I hope and I pray and I know, in fact, I know that everything has been very clear, but I would like to thank again all of our experts for all the information that they had given us, and my fellow moderator, Maria Camila, for all the knowledge they have shared with us today. Now it is the audience turn. I mean, there's a lot of people here watching us. So if you have any questions regarding any of our research projects or any question regarding the processes that we have been working with, it's your moment to go ahead and ask us.
Well, I don't have any question, but I have some comments to do. First, I really want to express my happiness. I feel really proud of you guys. I feel and I think you've been doing a great job, accompanied by your teacher, Professor Claudia Uribe. And I can see also that it is so professional, the way you're speaking and the way you have been able to understand what you're doing. And one can see how interested you are in continue this path. I really congratulate you and congratulate also Claudia because of what you've been doing. I'd like to highlight that someone specifically called my attention, and it was Ricardo, because I remember Ricardo in my last classes some time ago, more than 2 years ago, as a very shy, quiet person. who of course was very committed to his process, but who was not very participative in the activities in some occasions. Now I can see how empowered he is, and I wanted to highlight that. So thank you very much for sharing with us. Can see that our director is going to participate, so I'm going to give the floor to her now.
Before your participation, Diana, thank you so much, Lina, for your nice comments. It makes us more than proud to know that someone who's been accompanying us for this whole process since basically since the first semester is now proud of us and seeing and has seen how we have grown all throughout this process. So thank you. And now it's time for Diana.
Thank you very much. Well, likewise, I would also like to congratulate you guys. I know it's been tough. I know it's been hard, but you guys are doing a great job. I do, however, have two questions. More, I think the questions would be for me to be clear on some things, because maybe I didn't see it when you guys presented it. The first question was for, it was Laura's and Valentina's. It's the group that has 5 people. And you guys are working on planning. And I didn't hear you guys when you presented what is planning for you. And why did you decide it was only planning?
Okay.
That's my first question. And my second question is for Sebastian, who's doing the how they become reflective and how it's going on through different practicums. And how did you guys collect the data?
Okay, Diana, before opening the space for the groups to answer the question, I would like to clarify that the group that you're referring with the first question is not Laura, Lorena, the big group. The group that is actually working on planning is confirmed by Valentina Ortiz and Alejandro Cardona. So if
okay, I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it.
Maybe that's why I was confused.
Yeah.
Because they were talking, the girls from the group that's 5 people, and then we moved to Valentina. So I figured it was the same thing. Sorry.
No, it was not, but either way, it will be interesting to hear a teeny tiny bit from Valentina or Alejandro about what planning is for them as teachers.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yes, well, I would like to first clarify that yes, again, both groups are different. Yes, we are 2 people. We are Valentina and me, Alejandro. And yes, again, we're working on teachers' beliefs as a way of representation of a teaching style. However, the bridge to be able to analyze what the teacher takes to the classroom and brings from the academic background is the planning, which is that specific bridge, as I mentioned, that permit the teacher to connect what is outside or what is in a teacher's conception and the way in which teacher perform in the classroom. So that is the conception that we have for the planning in this project. And of course, the conception of planning is not about lesson planning. Our problem here is planning design, all the process that involves the first thinking that the teacher has regarding the planning and what is going to take to the classroom, what kind of strategies is going to apply, how many times is going to apply to one of the activities or strategies, and later how he or she is going to apply, yes, like the roadmap to his or her performance to the classroom. I think Valentina is going to expand further.
Yes, but you already said it is like the roadmap in which beliefs and also the styles converge. So that's why we use this conception of planning, like the roadmap the teacher uses to understand his or her own perceptions or beliefs regarding the class and also the students and the surgeon, for example, the course that we had there. So yes, like a roadmap, we have the conception of planning.
Okay, so guys, I'm gonna make a short suggestion. When you guys present this project next semester, start by clarifying that. Because planning could have different meanings, okay? So make sure your audience knows that beforehand, okay?
Thank you so much.
Diana.
We'll have it into your account.
Sebas and Brandon, you had a question. Do you want to answer it?
Yes, of course. So Diana, the first and well, for everyone, I would like to tell you that to remind you, we are working with autoethnography, that is a self-consciousness explored. And we were working to that, and what we have making is to check 4 different journals and 2 different plannings, starting by the same semester. And we start to analyze that specific process. Even we have already created an Indeed interview that we were planning to try to analyze this specific self-consciousness explored. And even we were taking into account some labeling data that was exposed by Chinese in 2017 that was related to the 4W question, that is when, who, what, and where. And we start to understand these specific concepts to try to analyze our specific data. That is the way in which we start to gather all this information.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Diana, for your questions. They were really meaningful. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to share any of your questions with us? Okay, el profesor José Vicente Abad is asking for the floor, so the floor is yours, teacher.
Hello, thank you all. Can you see me and hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you for sharing your incredible projects. We have a lot to learn. I actually do want to ask the team has 5 members. So Mariana, I believe, is representing the group today. I believe you guys were investigating the use of literature to promote social skills. So my question is, what did you learn from these projects that you're taking away and applying into your practice as teachers? Thank you.
Hi. I'm sorry. Okay. Hi, teacher. Hi, everyone. Here is a part of the group. The other one is in the cameras, Cami and Lau. So yes, our project is about designing literature-based teaching strategies to promote social-emotional dimension. Well, I think that the process has given us a lot. Now we are only like in the middle of the project, but I think we already have a lot of things that are very helpful for each one of us. In my case, that I'm the teacher from the group that we are doing the project, I have been learning a lot. Like, for example, in the social emotional part, recognizing little things from the students that they get from literature or from activities that I do in the class. When I'm reading a book, attitudes that they have, how they can relate the characters from the real life, the comments that they do, all of these things. Like, for example, in a test that we did, that we asked them some questions, like, for example, if they can recognize people's people's emotions with their faces, with only looking at their faces. Some of them were like, yes, mi amigo cuando está triste me le sé la cara de memoria. And then after that, they start connecting those questions to their real life. So for example, if I'm like this, they are like, ay, teacher, ya me la sé, está enojada. So there are things that I can notice that I can start connecting every activity that I do with how they are feeling. And when I'm reading a book, I always try to give them an opportunity to reflect and to tell me what did they connect with the book. And that has been very helpful in the classes that I have.
Mari, I would like to add something that we were discussing actually during the last tutoring, I think. We were expecting that our group was not as good or in a well-developed stage of the social-emotional dimension. And we have learned that we should be less biased and we have to be very careful on what to expect from our students. We were thinking that because of all their comments, the psychologists, previous teachers, and then when we made an initial questionnaire to kind of diagnose or to know the initial socio-emotional status, we were surprised. And that's a good learning we have from now on and during our projects and also during our lives and teaching lives as well. So maybe not to expect so much, maybe not to be very, I don't know. We were like, sorry, not to expect so much, we had very low expectations actually from our students. That's what I was trying to say. So we need to recognize and expect better things from them as well. That was a very nice learning from us.
Thank you guys for answering, and it's so good to see that you're together. I was wondering where you were. I was looking for you in the list of participants, and you guys are together. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing.
Also, I want to add something that is, even though we haven't finished developing like the interventions, we have been exploring lots of texts that have gave us very like a complete idea of what can we find in books that we can use regarding our population and how we can adapting them, because as some of you know, we had to change population first. We had third graders, now we have first graders, and that implied that we had to just make some adjustments. So we were exploring texts for third graders, and now we have been thinking more on our focusing on our population. So, and also when just checking or analyzing those texts, we have been learning a lot about what kind of criteria we would like to keep to choose the textbook or the piece of literature we want to bring in our classes.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Abad, for your questions, and thank you so much to the group who kindly and very completely answered them. If anyone else has another question, this is the time for you to make it. If not, we can continue to some final acknowledgements to close up this space and open the floor for the next groups. So as we don't have any other questions, I guess it's time for acknowledgements.
Okay, so just finally, I really want to thank all of you for your time, for your attention. So first, our experts for enriching these conversations about your research projects. Thanks to our audience as well, because you have been very attentive, you have been listening to us. Thanks to my moderating mate. And last but not least, thanks to our research advisor, Professor Claudio Uribe, for guiding us over the whole course or courses, because they have been many, but they have been Wonderful. And we all hope that you have found this colloquium pleasant event to learn about qualitative research. That's it. See you next semester.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much to Professor Claudia Uribe and this group of students who were able to share with us this very interesting process they are developing and they are working on. I am really proud of all of you and very, very happy to see the results that are so positive. So thank you very much. Okay, now we continue in our program with Professor Alejandro Betancourt and his group of Practicum 3. They will be presenting their experiences and their work and reflection done during the semester. Okay, so the floor is yours now.
Thank you so much, my dear Lina, and good afternoon for everybody. Thank you to the groups, the group who just presented. It was like really interesting to let you know the achievements they have. This semester I'm working with Practicum 3, and the students, the presenters today from our group are Catalina, Juan Esteban, and Juliana Montes. She's trying to arrive to the section because she's having like some difficulties now, but meanwhile, Catalina and Juan Esteban, they are going to start, okay? So thank you so much for being here, and guys, go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for offering this space to share our practice. I'm going to share the screen now, and we are going to start. Well, we are going to start telling you the topic, the challenge, and learning from the teachers as a result of remote control. This presentation is in charge of Catalina Moreno, Juliana Montes, and myself, Juan Esteban Cerro. So, the context of the group, we are 27 students. We are in different type of practices in different contexts, and that let us know about the realities, the methods that our partners use to develop their classes and their practice. Okay, we have private institutions, public institution, in academics, some partners that are working right now. Another one is the practicum in the university with semilleros, and in the rural areas that are very interesting too. So the objectives of this practice, of the practicum 3, is like create pedagogical journals that allows to constantly reflect, design, and guide our classes, our practices, and as a teachers, we can reflect and learn from our students and from everything. The objective number 2 is to fulfill assigning functions with an educational institution. It's like demonstrating respect and commitment for their work and in English as a teacher. That's very important too. The number 3 is...
Okay, hello everybody. As Juan Esteban said, I'm Catalina Moreno. Nice to greet you today. And another one of the objectives of our practicum is to identify the particularities and needs of students considering their contexts. And this is for the selection of purposes, activities, evaluation processes, and materials for the teaching and learning of English as a foreign language in the classroom. And design macro planning and unit plans to strengthen the development, learning and acquisition of communicative competence in relation to the language and evaluation policies of the country and the context. And this is done intentionally, taking into account the different didactic elements that affect foreign language teaching and learning processes in the classroom.
Well, another two objectives that we have is like to analyze the opportunities, possibilities, and condition of teaching a foreign language that arise from the choice and implementing of a specific pedagogical model for the teaching of the foreign language in the practice environment or in the classroom, in the practice. Another one is to propose the creation of foreign language learning environments. That's very important because we are being studying or building a specific knowledge that favors us the development of communicative competence and in turn the classroom practice of the teacher training. So we are, after saying that, we are going to continue in the most important part, that is, what are those challenges, how we develop this? I'm sorry, but how were the conclusions reached? We are been working in groups and collecting the ideas that our partners bring from their realities, and in small groups we work, we share the challenge and lessons that we have, and the other one is the decision making over the ideas to be presented is another part that is important. So the challenges are Juliana arrived, or I continue?
I think she's not here, but okay. First, we want to apologize, all of you. Our classmate, Juliana Montes, is having connectivity issues. So that's why Juan asked if she was here. Okay, so one of the challenges our group discussed in this remote transition is the adaptation of curriculum, because the coordinators and the directive part of institutions expect teachers to deliver the classes the way they were delivered before, and to cover all the content that is in the syllabi, and we have found that it is not possible due to timing. Whereas in-person classes, you would cover, say, 3 units per term. We have found that in online classes, you sometimes can barely cover 2. Another one of the challenges is attendance. Students sometimes don't feel moved to come to class or to attend class, and because of connectivity issues, because for example, many students are left with their grandparents and they don't have all the means needed to connect to class, so this complicates their attendance, and that has also been a great challenge in remote classes. Also, the use of technology on behalf of students and teachers. If we all know that this is the we're in the technological era, but we have also found that students are not that good at technology, and many teachers aren't as well because they are not they were not born in the technological era. So it has been a very big challenge. In some institutions, we also found that there's no full coverage to all the students' needs in terms of technology and resources because there's just not the resources. So many students don't have internet connection or haven't had a full internet connection or a computer, and this goes in hand with resources as well. They don't have access to all the resources needed to attend online classes. And when we talk about resources, we're also talking about on behalf of teachers. Many teachers, even now that many institutions have returned to normality, we have found that many teachers have had to take their own computers to schools, to the institutions where they do their practicum, or some who work there, and not everybody has a good computer in terms of connectivity, or some apps, and they are slow, and this has also been a bit difficult for practicum students. Also, not all students and teachers know virtual environments, and this has a lot to do with digital literacy, where students and teachers don't know how to move around a virtual context, and this has been a difficulty. This has been a great challenge for both teachers and students, because they have been kind of like blindfolded throughout the process.
Well, continue with the challenge. Thank you so much, Kata. We found the work overload. We found this part that the teacher get overloaded with a lot of work, and sometimes the institution needs to provide some information, or we as a practitioners, we need to cover a lot of responsibilities in our environment. So they expect to that we as a practitioners develop an entire class is in some minutes. So there is a big charge of work. Another one is the separate the private life. And that is something important, because after classes in the evening, there are some parents that are trying to communicate with us or with the teacher. In some that are working now, our parents that are working now tell us that some parents are uh, abusing of that part. That is a challenge for us, because we are teacher, but we need to rest sometimes. We need to rest our minds. It is a lot of information to cover the university and the practices or the work, and that is a part we need to separate. Another one is the annoying parent. This part is in part of the virtuality that we see. The parent that was behind the student, or the parent that says that stays in with the student in the same class, the student and the parent in the same class, and says, "Oh, come on, participate." They say to her son or daughter, "Come on, participate." Or sometimes they ask to the teacher, "Oh, teacher, you are not going to let my son or my daughter participate." So that is one of the challenge. We don't have the challenge of the student. We have the challenge um, of the parents too. Another one is the post-pandemic needs. We see that the mentality, the way of the thinking of the students change. This pandemic affect us, everybody, and one of the challenges are the post-pandemic needs. The post in terms of the mental health of our students, the needs that they have from, for example, the economic. And that's one of the most important, and we have to put um, our minds to develop a solution sometimes to help our students. Another one is the face mask. This part is presentiality. Uh, we deal with this because we have to take care of our students in part of the virus. That is very dangerous, and we deal with the, for example, in part of the students, we are continually saying them that, "Oh, come on, put your face mask on because that are the rules of the school." And or in part of us as a teachers, I'm sorry, is that we need to speak louder than we are used to. So that is a very careful part of our voice, and that is something that we have to deal in this moment in the presentiality. Another one is the providing opportunities. This is the facing and attain methodologies to the educational needs of post-pandemic. As I said before, the students change. Or, for example, we as a teacher, in my practice, I found that I have special needs. So in that part, I have to adapt my methodology, my strategy, and that means provide opportunities that they provide opportunities and inclusion to our students, and they have a meaningful learning. Another one is the social inequalities and economics. As I said before, that's one of the post-pandemic results. So we as a teacher, we are in um, we are in we have to face um, those aspects. The inequalities in part of the social and economics are very specific in our practices, in part of the rural or the public education. So we, as a teacher, we have to work integrality and put the philosophy of the university. That's something that we have been working in our career, and in the thinking of the teacher, um, we have to be I'm sorry. We have to we have to put the quality in our classes and provide the opportunities that the student needs to develop their words and or their thinking. So going Going further, one of the points is integrate inclusive activities. As I said before, the special needs are in our classes, so we have to be careful with those activities and work in a formative way to let the students catch all the information. So in part of learnings, that is something very important. My partner Kata is going to say.
Okay, so as Juan said at the beginning, we are going to tell you about challenges and learnings, okay? Because this remote education has not only been very challenging for teachers and students, or practicum students and students and teachers, it has also brought along a lot of learning. There has been a lot of experience involved in this, and part of this learning or these learnings, we have like the whole experience, because as I said before, the not knowing our way around virtual environments at the beginning was a challenge, is now a learning, because now we can say that we know how to work around different learning environments, how to work with certain apps and many other things that have been that were challenging, but now we can happily say that we have learned. And so as you can see, like the whole experience has been great learning. Resilience is also something that we found as a big acquisition at a personal level, because well, it's as we know, resilience is the ability to adapt to different situations or difficult moments. And many teachers, students, and practicum students have shown to have successfully overcome all the difficulties this remote learning / teaching has brought along. Now, this is a term one of our classmates came up with, and I absolutely loved it. He said multi-environment teachers, and this is true. We can now say that we are not only in-person teachers, we're not only virtual teachers, we're multi-environment teachers. Well, for future teachers, because as practicum students, we're still in that process, or many of the practicum, many of practicum students. And in future classes, when many of the practicum students become licensed teachers, they can say, I can teach an online class, I can teach an in-person class, I can teach a blended class. And this is absolutely something we owe to this remote teaching due to pandemic. The redesigning of classes, the adaptations, the different adaptations, many teachers or practicum students had to make to the different lessons, because as I said before, one of the challenges was the curriculum adaptation. So many classes had to be redesigned. Many of my classmates from this course had to teach the same class 2 weeks in a row, because a group of students come to class this week and then they go home, and then another group of students come to class the following week. So that means teaching the same course, the same lesson 2 weeks in a row, and that takes a lot of redesigning. Also, dealing with students' realities, we have found that in many cases we had to go beyond teaching English as a foreign language or go beyond being practicum students and connecting more with students, understanding more their realities, not seeing these people as students, but seeing them more as people with needs, with difficulties, with complications, etc., etc. Now, we have been struggling, like in general, in all our license program, and the Ministry of Education in general have been talking about redesigning education. Evaluation, changing the evaluation system. But this remote teaching or remote learning has really taking us to turn to alternative evaluation, to evaluate students in different ways, to leave aside traditional evaluation and bring in new ways of evaluating students. And last, well, not last, but we wanted to close our presentation with John Dewey's quote, where he said that to find out what one is fitted to do and to secure an opportunity to do it is the key to happiness. And we chose this because many people associate teaching with a sad life, teaching with poor life, teaching with frustrated life. And no, I think that taking all these challenges and taking all these learnings, putting them together and making them work on your to your benefit is putting them to work in your to your benefit is becoming a happy teacher. So I think that, you know, the situation doesn't change. What changes is your attitude towards it. So if you take all of these challenges, all these learnings, and make them yours and use them in favor to your students and your classes, you are definitely on the way or on the road to happiness. Well, this is it for Practicum 3 students of teacher Alejandro Betancourt.
Thank you so much, everybody. Right now, we are going to open a space for questions, suggestions. I don't know if what you want to say right now.
I want to thank you for sharing your experiences, reflections, and conclusions with us today. I think you represented very well your group and your teacher, and it's interesting to see all those issues that you were able to come up with. And I am completely sure that it was a very collective or group construct, which is also very, very important for you. I can see here a comment from Diana. She says, sorry, very well done. Thank you, Juan Esteban and Catalina, for sharing. So thank you very much for that comment too. And I am expressing here what she also said. So thank you very much. Again, it was really, really interesting. Okay, we are going to continue with the presentation of Practicum 2 with Professor Sergio Pedraza. So my dear Sergio and your group, the floor is yours. I know they have a different format. They will be presenting or sharing a video, which I was able to watch this morning. So I found it really interesting. Go ahead, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the introduction, Lina. Yes, this semester, the group decided that we're going to change the format that we have been working in previous webinars. We're not doing a presentation. We decided to do a video. And this video, it's actually segments of different students and CTs talking about their learnings and challenges. Today, we have Karen Zapata She's going to be the representative for the course. So Karen, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Teachers, guests, and my fellow partners, of course. I know that it has been a long day, so I really wanted to thank you for being here with us. Today, we are going to present, as the teacher said, some of the experiences, challenges, and learnings that we had with this new reality. We are a group of 25 students. We have been working outside and inside of the area metropolitana, different institutions. Also, we have been attending to different modalities, virtuality, face-to-face, and alternates. We have been working with guys from pre-K, also with the university level. So we have a wide scope, I could say that. And also, the teacher, Professor Sergio Pedraza, and the CTs has been the main key for us to develop some, not some, all the possibilities and new practicals that we have to be a good teacher, I could say. So let's start with the video. The video talks about the process that we have been doing during the time, and also how we experience this new reality, as I said before.
I'm Jenny. I'm going to about my significant experience in my professional practice. Without a doubt, I believe that was learning to handle different technological tools, different platform resources to carry out remote class. Of course, I expand my knowledge. I knew new persons, and I made it while I know my students. That's all. Bye.
I think that with this change, now we are more capable to handle classes with guys in front of a computer and also with guys in a classroom. We are more understandable and more flexible with the situations that they could have. And also, we understood that there are so many technologies or tools that we can use for this development of the classes. And the guys are going to be more relaxing or be more active with this kind of tools, because not only with craft, they are going to use the computer, they are going to use a lot of technologies or techniques that normally we never did before. But now, because of the context, because of the pandemic, because of the quarantine, we need to use it. And I think that is one of the best goals that we can reach, because now we are made of changes.
This semester, going back to face-to-face education has been great. It came with a challenge with all of the new norms due to the COVID-19, but it's been good. The face-to-face classes and the remote classes have a different feeling. One of the most common example is that, for example, in the remote classes, a student might be hiding behind a camera. So participation in the class is like very short. But in face-to-face education, this is hard to achieve because there is no possibility that the students are behind the cameras hiding. And it's easy to share moments in the face-to-face classroom with the students.
During the transition of virtual classes to face-to-face classes, I understood a concept that is interaction. Because in the virtual classes, it was a separation. They were not missing the school. They were missing all the community in general. They were missing their teachers. They were missing their classmates, their friends, and other people that is part of the school. Interaction is based on sharing words, sharing concepts, sharing experiences. Also in communicating ideas, and not only communicating, it's also creating new ideas. This pandemic event showed us that interaction is creating new ideas, sharing experiences, acquiring behaviors, learning a different way of see the world or a new way of thinking. Learning creates societies and communities. Thank you.
Hi, this is Estefania Munoz here. I feel very grateful with my experience at the university with my practicums. I'm helping with the tutorings in the language department. One of the most, if I can say, the most important or meaningful experience for me throughout this process is the fact that my students are university students just the way I am. We are studying the same. So being able to help them overcome their own obstacles, their own issues, their own difficulties with the language or with the bachelor's degree in English, it's very enriching and it helps me grow as well along with them. So I think the most important thing is being able to help them in this process that has been very challenging for all of us, but also we can overcome it together.
Being a new teacher, it is already a challenge, but when it comes to teach virtually and during my practicum, I must say that the challenges I've been facing have to do with the fact that preparing my classes or adapting my classes to virtual environments, I need to know how to use technology, and also I need to know how to adapt my practices to those virtual settings that they offer on the internet to make my classes more dynamic. The second one is pretty tied to the first one, is because I spent a lot of time preparing the classes that I have to develop. I guess this is because I am a new teacher and I need to get used to it, so it's gonna be just a matter of time before I get used to it. So these are my two challenges, the fact that I need to use technology, and the other one is the amount of time that I've been taking preparing my classes. Anyway, it's been an enriching process.
I'm Isabel Nieves. I want to talk about my experience, about my practicum. I'm so happy because I have like beautiful experiences and I will have those experiences all my life. It is so nice to be with kids and also to teach them all my knowledge. Also, as a good experience that I will have all my life is to share my knowledge with my CT and also to be a support for her, teaching her how to use well a computer, how to be connected in a class on Zoom. That's like a really good experience for me because I can help people and I love to help people. As a teacher, I think we need to help people, and for me, I think I'm helping a lot to giving kids my knowledge and also to my city my knowledge. So that's the most important thing for me in this practicum.
We learn about the importance of empathy and assertive communication, as from the lack of a hug, a smile, a nice word, a flattery or gestures brings us to closer our students. As a teacher, we must learn to be empathetic and to understand the reality of the other. One of the challenges has been the curricular adaptation. It changed the concept of curricular measures, which was what students need to learn, and began to think about what the students really needed to learn in terms of a pandemic. For example, how to work on the management of emotions, all the psychological and emotional aspects in a more effective way, and too many curricular adjustments were made.
Hello everyone. So today I just want to share with you one of the biggest challenges that I have faced during this pandemic, and I think all of you have faced too. And the first one is when we are wearing the face mask during the classes, sometimes you have to speak so loud and maybe you can take damage of your vocal cords, and the participation can be lower than before. And another one is that we have to know about many things in technology, resources, all of that stuff. And in conclusion is that all of that experiences, we have to be thankful for all of that in another way, because we are preparing ourselves for many changes. For example, we have never expected that all of this were going to happen, and now we can face and make our classes more dynamic, so we can create a lot of different classes, lesson plans in different situations. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Camilo Ceballos, and today I'm going to talk about my practices and experience that I live in the Institución Educativa Ignacio Botero Vallejo. When I started my internship in the 5th grade, I made the proposal to teach extracurricular classes to students recognized in the institution as extra age who are boys between the 15 and 60 years old. These guys present difficulties to learn the content of the English subject. In this way, I have carried out a process of reinforcement and motivation. This week, these boys have participated in classes and have also helped some of their classmates who present difficulties with the subject of the class. In past classes, I have been constantly accompanying, try to motivate them and constantly explain the subject to get them involved in class. But seeing how they participated and helped their classmates does generate a feeling of satisfaction in the process that we are carrying with them. And it is amazing, and I'm glad for them because they are doing this. They want to change something, and I guess that the first step was taken to awaken their potential.
One of the biggest challenge returning back to school after the lockdown was trying to engage the students to an actual presence class. They were really used. I think everyone was really used to stay comfortable in their houses, and students noticed that even if they were in class, they were able to do other stuff instead of paying attention in reality to the class. Simple things like moving from one class to another, being on time at school, little things that we think probably doesn't affect or doesn't care that much, it actually does, because they start noticing that being in school, actually you have to put a big effort to show that you're interested, that you have to be in class, not distracted with other things. And that's one of the major issues being from home. Students get very distracted with other things they prefer to do instead of paying attention in class. So that will be like the biggest challenge. But either way, I think going back to school, returning to school, it's more meaningful than doing a virtual class because you can gather more with the students. Plus, you can see the faces. You can notice if they're really learning. You can clarify those doubts they have much easier than in a virtual class. So, from my perspective, I'm really grateful that we're going back to school and that this pandemic disease is passing over.
Hello everybody, I'm Santiago, and today I'm going to talk about my experience being a pre-service teacher in the countryside. I have learned a lot of things in this practicum, but one of them is that we as teachers have to be as ready as possible to face any kind of unexpected situation that may happen in our practice. It may happen, for example, that the road to go to the school is blocked because of weather situations, so you have to continue your journey by walking. It may also happen that the classroom is not available, so you have to find another place in the community to do your class. And of course, forget about the activities you design to do on the blackboard. It also can happen that you design an activity with technological devices, but the night before it rained so hard that the power went out, so you have to design and do a very different activity. A lot of things may happen. So having a plan B and being ready is definitely the key. On the other hand, in this practicum, one of my biggest challenges has been to engage my students with the English learning so they feel motivated to participate in the classes. Even though I have used a lot of different strategies, students in the countryside are very shy and limit themselves a lot to participate. I hope to turn this challenge into a learning in my next practicum experience.
Un saludo a todos, mi nombre es Andrés Felipe Vélez, estoy en la práctica 2 con el docente Sergio Pedraza y estoy haciendo mis prácticas en la institución José Manuel Restrepo Vélez del municipio de Envigado. Para mí esta práctica fue sumamente formadora en el sentido de que se presentaron muchas oportunidades para aprender, para entender de qué se trata el oficio docente. También hubo retos bastante difíciles e inesperados, que fue la transición del modelo virtual al modelo de alternancia o el modelo presencial. Aquí hubo pues ciertas resistencias que tenemos todos cuando se toca pasar de un modelo a otro, porque encontramos como ya comodidades y adaptaciones que tenemos cuando estamos cómodos en una zona de confort. Y siento que lo más difícil para nosotros como practicantes fue de nuevo redescubrir y resignificar esos espacios como el aula, también encargarnos de crear estrategias para hacer atractivo esas nuevas formas de habitar el aula. Entonces siento que fue una práctica muy particular y muy provechosa en el sentido de que nos ofreció muchísimas posibilidades para pensar nuestro quehacer como docentes, la planificación y también el valor de adaptarnos, el valor de la resiliencia de adaptarnos frente a los desafíos que nos presenta la actualidad, que es impredecible, la realidad que es impredecible. Entonces siento que situaciones como esta y desde el ejercicio de la práctica nos enseñan a enfrentar el ahora desde las capacidades que tenemos para formular las mejores clases y para hacer del aula espacios provechosos para el aprendizaje.
Okay, one of the biggest challenges during my practicum is actually to engage students into the topics, to make them see the English language as a powerful and useful tool for their lives and career. And there are some factors to be taken into account. One is to be creative with the presentations. Since this is a virtual experience, so images, powerful words are also very important, and that engages students and get them interested in the different topics. Another one would be the relation with students, to show them we care about them, to ask open questions, to show also self-confidence, because that also gives them the possibility and encourages them to participate, since they are not kids, because they are teenagers and adults, so they normally don't tend to participate that much. But if we show energy as well during the classes, that also helps so that they can participate and get them interested in the different sessions. In addition to that, vocation is key here, because how come is a student going to be interested in the English language if we as teachers don't show vocation? So we need to actually show we are passionate about what we do. That way they can see our work, our love for the teaching matter, and that was my challenge so far, one of the challenges that I have had so far during my practicum. Goodbye.
Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Steven. I'm one of the teachers at Calasan School. Roxanne, who is my intern, asked me if I can make this video and answer this question so I can shed some light. So the question goes like this. What are some challenges or knowledge I've gained from in-classroom teaching, remote teaching, and hybrid classes? So some of the knowledge that I've gained would definitely be the use and implementation of digital resources in my classroom. If it's online or hybrid classrooms. I would also say experimenting with other types of approaches when it comes to teaching. Approaches like project-based learning. And this also changes the way that you evaluate. That way you can evaluate different communicative skills. I've also learned how to use different platforms to connect with students. And another thing would definitely be preparing classes with visual, auditive, and kinesthetic aids. And well, also meeting the standards that DUA requires. On the other hand, I would say that online and hybrid teaching has definitely also brought some drawbacks. Some of these challenges when it comes to online teaching would definitely be one of the strongest drawbacks, and that is the control of the class when it comes to active listening and participation. Another challenge is the class preparation. When it comes to online classes, you definitely need more time to prepare. When it comes to children, everything needs to be more visual, more dynamic, more attractive. And another challenge is that these classes limit you to work with only visual aids or listening aids, or audio aids, I mean. And well, you're not working with children that also need movement, so that's definitely a challenge. On the other hand, when we talk about hybrid classes, this gives you a little bit of space or time to work with children in the classroom. But one of the main challenges when it comes to hybrid classes is the time management. It's very tough to work with two groups and divide your attention into two. Another main challenge that I've definitely felt in hybrid classes is creating strategies that work for both groups. And well, I would definitely say those are the challenges with online and hybrid classes. And when it comes to the classroom, in classroom or face-to-face teaching, one of the challenges is the control of the group and well, setting the tone. As a teacher, I've seen that students can definitely read you, and well, you need to set the tone when you start with the group. Also, using a proper tone of voice, projecting your voice, and another main challenge is grading your language. Of course, as a teacher, you learn to read your group, you learn to read your students, and well, grading your language is also part of the process as a teacher, so students can understand you and you don't have to be switching to your native language. And well, that's basically what I've brought to you guys today. I hope I've shed some light, and well, have a great night. Goodbye, guys.
Buenas tardes, yo soy Carolina Vélez, la coordinadora del Learning Center de Colegio Montessori. Bueno, frente a los aprendizajes y dificultades que hemos tenido a raíz de la pandemia y de toda la metodología virtual que hemos implementado, hemos visto que nuestros niños han bajado su nivel de autonomía, de autoeficacia y de independencia personal en las actividades que desarrollan día a día. En eso hemos enfocado en nuestro colegio todas las acciones para que ellos vuelvan a tener autonomía en la presentación de sus actividades, para que vuelvan a motivarse frente al aprendizaje. Y también como aprendizaje hemos visto que es necesario incluir la tecnología en nuestras clases, tener en cuenta las metodologías activas para poder que todos los estudiantes puedan acceder al conocimiento según sus necesidades, sus estilos y sus ritmos de aprendizaje. Para eso contamos con nuestro Learning Center, donde nuestros estudiantes a través de las tutorías y los apoyos en aula pueden vincularse a actividades motivantes, significativas que vuelvan a entretenerlos y a que ellos fortalezcan estos procesos que mencionamos. Muchas gracias.
Buenos días, yo soy Clara Betancourt, soy asesora pedagógica del Learning Center del Colegio Montessori, especializada en el área de matemáticas. Cuando nos pregunta Valentina sobre cuáles han sido nuestros retos o dificultades para todo ese proceso de aprendizaje durante la pandemia, ya una vez recibimos a los niños, en el área específicamente de matemáticas, encontramos que los niños durante la pandemia, algunos procesos de desarrollo de lógico-matemática, espaciales y lateralidad se vieron afectados o disminuidos o no estimulados durante este tiempo. Entonces nuestro reto ahora que ellos volvieron a la presencialidad ha sido volverlos a instruir en la forma en cómo ellos van a volver a usar su material concreto, cómo ellos mismos son los generadores de su propio aprendizaje en las matemáticas, retomar esas prácticas y retomar nuevamente todo lo que son las habilidades, digámoslo así, de pensamiento, específicamente en el cálculo mental.
Hola, quiero en este momento resaltar la importancia del trabajo que ha realizado Isabel Cristina en nuestra institución educativa en José Félix de Restrepo, específicamente con los niños de primaria. Ellos en este momento ven ese espacio que se le ha dado a Isabel Cristina como un espacio de diversión, de alegría, porque ellos están aprendiendo a través de ella con mucho dinamismo, lo que ha hecho que ellos hayan cambiado esa forma de ver el inglés como ese aprendizaje difícil por algo más sencillo y muy fácil, porque a través de sus clases ha despertado mucho mayor interés en ellos para aprenderlo, comprendiendo así que el inglés es tan importante es importante para todas las personas, ya que es una lengua universal y por lo tanto los va a conllevar a la comunicación, no solamente con las personas de su misma lengua, sino con otras, en este caso el inglés. Así que también es una forma de agradecer por el apoyo que la universidad nos da a través de sus practicantes. A Isabel Cristina quiero felicitarla y motivarla para que continúe con esa bella labor que viene haciendo y agradecer a todos. Muchas gracias.
Y la Secretaría de Salud. Con ese pilotaje aprendimos muchísimo y logramos entonces de esa manera pensar y proyectarnos hacia el 2021. En el 2021 los retos han sido otros. No solamente continuar el proceso de capacitación en herramientas virtuales o digitales, sino también acompañar a las familias y a los estudiantes en este proceso de retorno, que no ha sido nada fácil. Ha tomado todo un tiempo ese proceso de adaptación, de volver a encontrarnos, de socializar mutuamente, entre otros aspectos. Para ello también al equipo de maestros se le ha brindado los elementos con paciencia, cómo acompañar a los estudiantes en este retorno en donde actualmente ya nos encontramos con algunos estudiantes desde educación en casa con el uso de herramientas tecnológicas, pero también tenemos estudiantes que se vinculan a la institución algunos días de la semana y otros que ya los tenemos en total presencialidad. Entonces, bajo cada uno de estos esquemas es mucho lo que hemos aprendido gracias a la apertura que ha tenido el Colegio Ferrini frente a los cambios, que es otro de los aprendizajes que también nos deja la pandemia. Nada se puede predecir en ocasiones, por más planeación que tengamos, muchas novedades se pueden presentar, pero debemos adaptarnos, hacer ajustes y estar como muy al pendiente de atender a nuestros principios como institución educativa.
So that was the video that my class prepared. When I was looking at Alejandro's presentation, I thought to myself, oh my God, I mean, they stole our presentation. They have the same difficulties that we did. And then you can listen at the CTs, teachers that have been working at the institution for quite some time, and they have the same fears. They have the same learning opportunities. They have the same challenges that you guys as practicum students have. So it's not that we are inexperienced or that you are inexperienced in teaching. It's that it's something that happens to everyone. Continue, Karen.
Okay, thank you, teacher. So as we watch in the video, there are a lot of challenges that we need to start to work with. Also, there are a lot of experiences that we gain. We are more capable. We understood the guys, we understood the situation, but also we grow up in terms of being a teacher. There are a lot of constraint, advantages, and disadvantages that we are facing with this new reality. And I would really like to thank you to all the CTs, the professor, and all the classmates, because it's not easy now for them, as the teacher said, that they have experience in us, that we are new teachers, if I say that in that way, that we are going to start to work with different situations, that we will change our mind point of views, that we used to work with guys with just a piece of paper, a board, and a chalk. Now we are working with computers at the same time with guys in a classroom. So there are a lot of things that we are doing great. There are a lot of things that we need to improve, but we are doing it. So thank you so much for being here with us. And if you have any question, I will be happy to answer it.
I really want to congratulate you, not only to Sergio, you did great, and also you, my dear students, for being able not only to present those difficulties, challenges, negative and positive issues, also the experience and the things that you learned, but also involving your CTs. Sergio had that idea since the very beginning when in a Comité de Práctica starting this semester, he presented that idea, like, why not involving the CT somehow? We have taken that suggestion into account, and he also did. I mean, when he was able to suggest you to continue with your own idea, if it was also yours, of inviting your CTs to be an active part of this, because they are experienced teachers and also the ones guiding your process in those schools. So it was really interesting, not only listening to you, but also listening to them, provide with the ideas and those fears they have, those issues that make them like think and rethink on what they are doing. It was very, very interesting way of presenting. And the most beautiful part is that all of you were involved in the process. That's also very, very interesting. Congratulations.
Very much.
Diana has also expressed how she liked the video. She was telling me that she liked very much the way you had organized your ideas and your presentation, and other teachers who I was talking to earlier also told me that. So I just have that to say, that I am really, really happy and thankful for having had the opportunity to see and to listen to your presentation today. So thank you very, very much. It was interesting, very, very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much to my students. They did an excellent job.
Yes, very, very good. Very well done, all of you. Okay, so thank you very much for staying and being until this time. It's not very late, it's just 6:05. But anyways, you've been so attentive and maintaining this kind of audience at this moment. It's not easy. It means that everything that the three teachers and groups of learners were presenting was really, really interesting, that we could see that because people stayed and people continued expressing their ideas and their perceptions towards what all of you shared. So I invite you, to those who can make it, to join tomorrow since 8 o'clock in the morning. We will be you use the same link to join, and we will begin with a general presentation that will be done by Professor Davis Robinson Mosquera Albornoz, and he will be sharing his, he is a doctorate student at the university, so he will be presenting part of what he's researching and studying about for his doctorate degree. So it's related to how the perception people have about the teacher who also researches in the different schools of education in Antioquia. It's something like that. After that, we will have many other presentations, all of them from practicum, both from licenciatura en lenguas extranjeras and also from licenciatura en inglés. I think, no, that's on Friday, sorry, only lenguas extranjeras. It doesn't mean that those of you who belong to licenciatura en inglés cannot be there. Of course you can be there, because we always learn from the others. So you are cordially invited to join tomorrow too, since 8 o'clock. Diane, are you going to say something?
No, just to say thank you and good night.
Okay. Yeah, it's also, I want to thank all of you for being here, for Karen for being presenting here, Sergio, Claudia, Alejo, and all the students who participated today. You did just great. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, teacher. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Práctica 2,
Bye.
seguimos en clase.
Of course. Pensaron que se habían salvado. Of course not.
No lo puedo creer, yo pensé que ya estaban libres.
No, no, libres no, nos queda una sesión y todavía hay cositas que arreglar para la próxima clase.
Oh, muy bien. Sorry.
I'm going to stop the recording.